The Couple Who Survived at Sea.
Bill and Simone Butler, a couple from New York, spent 60 days in a life raft in the seas of Central America after their yacht sank. 3 weeks after they left Panama, they met some sharks, which hit the side of the boat until it sank. Bill and Simone had 2 life rafts, so they jumped into the bigger one. For 20 days they had tins of food, fruit, and bottles of water. They caught fish every day and cooked it in different ways. Then they lost the line, but Bill managed to catch fish in a cup. 1 or 2 ships passed them, but no one stopped. Then suddenly, a fishing boat saw them, and Bill and Simone jumped into it. The captain of the boat took them to Panama. Their drama was over.
An interview with a biographer. Today in Bookworld, we have an interview with Lucy Parker, who has written a biography of Ian Fleming, the author of the internationally famous James Bond spy novels. Welcome, Lucy. I think the thing that many people want to know is, how much is Ian Fleming, the author, like the hero of his books, James Bond?
Oh, a lot, I think. We can see a lot of James Bond in Ian Fleming's life.
Well, let's begin at the beginning, when he was a child.
Well, he was born on May the 28th, 1908, in England. His family were rich. His grandfather was a millionaire banker, and his father a member of Parliament.
Was he close to his family?
Well, his father was killed in the First World War, when Ian was only 9. He had 3 brothers, and he was quite close to them, but he was different from them.
How was he different?
Well, they all went to Eton. His brothers liked it. He hated it. He hated the army, too. He didn't want to be a soldier. He was good at languages, so he went to study in Geneva in 1930. Then, the next year, he wanted to join the Foreign Office, but didn't pass the exams. He went back home, and he was living with his mother again, feeling very bored, when he got a job as a journalist. He worked in London, Berlin, and Moscow. Then he worked as a stockbroker, and he was doing this when the Second World War started. That's when he started working in the world of spies.
What did he do?
Well, he joined Naval Intelligence and had a lot of contact with MI5 and the Secret Service. He went on secret missions to North Africa, Lisbon, and America.
Ah, that sounds like James Bond. What about his life when he wasn't working?
Well, he was a good-looking man. He loved money and had an expensive way of life. He always dressed very carefully. He had a lot of girlfriends. He didn't marry until he was 43. He drank a lot, gin, martini, vodka, and he smoked 60 cigarettes a day. Probably as a result of this, he had a bad heart from quite a young age.
I see. But what about his writing? When did that start?
After the war. He went to Jamaica and loved it, and decided to buy some land by the sea and build a house. He called it Goldeneye. And in Jamaica, in 1952, 3 very important things happened. He got married, he had a son, and he started writing about James Bond. His first book was Casino Royale, then his second book was Live and Let Die in 1954.
Yes, and I believe there were 12 more James Bond books after that.
Yes, indeed. 14 altogether before his death in 1964. His last book was The Man with the Golden Gun.
Did he ever meet Sean Connery, who played James Bond in the first films?
Yes, he did. He helped choose Sean Connery for Dr. No, but he died while they were making the second Bond film, From Russia with Love.
How sad, but at least he knew his books were successful.
Oh, yes. 40 million sold at the time of his death.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Lucy. It's very interesting to hear about the man who created James Bond. Saying the date.
The 4th of June. June the 4th.
The 25th of August. August the 25th.
The 31st of July. July the 31st.
The 1st of March. March the 1st.
The 3rd of February. February the 3rd.
The 21st of January, 1988.
The 2nd of December, 1976.
The 5th of April, 1980.
The 11th of June, 1965.
The 18th of October, 1989.